This is an uncensored podcast about sex and sexual topics. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the person or persons sharing them. Some names have been changed to preserve the anonymity of its participants. Hello, my lovers. How are we doing? This is Make Sex With Me, and I'm your host, Drew Michael. And I am recording this episode. This is my first ever episode done on a new microphone. So we actually have a professional quality microphone. But all the fixins. I've got it plugged in to an audio interface. There's like a mic arm with like a fucking cradle with, holding the mic, and there's a spit thing that keeps me from spitooning all over you. And but I'm laughing my ass off because right now there's some kind of audio filter on this, and I sound, because I can hear myself back into my monitor right through my headphones, and I'm using all these terms because I just learned them. Basically, I don't remember much from when I was in music school, but I did learn all this shit at one time and blah blah blah. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out, you probably hear my little mousy clicks, I'm trying to figure out how I can get myself to not sound crazy. Is this how I do it? Hello? Sounds like I'm talking to you like there's a million of me, like little robot clone versions of me, and we're all like talking at the same time. Anyway, maybe I could just turn down my headphones so I don't have to hear myself so much. Although, I do love hearing myself talk. Maybe a little bit more of that. Okay, cool. So anyway, hey guys, if you haven't yet, please rate, review, or subscribe to the podcast. Apparently subscribing is really important because we need followers, we need people listening, we need to know that people are listening. Plus then you'll be updated, every couple of weeks when we come out with episodes. But then there's this other thing where you can like rate and review, and I think those things like go a long way too. So please do that if you get a chance. I think it's like really easy. I don't know. I have probably rated or reviewed a podcast before. Anyway, so let's get on with it. Let's get on with talking about this. This is a really hard episode. It's going to be a crazy one. You guys know that sometimes when I don't have a guest and it's just me, that I go on these a little bit more spiritual, a little bit more serious topics. So we have three topics of discussion. Well, they're kind of under an umbrella. There's things about each of these things that we real vague here. Sorry, I'm burping like crazy. There's things about all three of these things that really trouble me, because I could see it from both sides. I belong to a Reddit, or a Reddit group. Is that what they call themselves? Or like subreddits or whatever. And it's called like Communal Showers or something. And I belong to that. And I'll tell you, I'll be really honest. I love like any kind of porn that takes place in a locker room, jocks, lockers, the sexy coach, showers, communal showers. Um, I've watched my share of like candid locker room camera stuff. And let's just say this. I mean, it's all like not okay. Like not all of it, but the stuff that's not okay is like the stuff where somebody was just in the locker room taking a shower and someone else snuck in a camera and videotaped them and then put it on the internet. I mean, is that okay? No, it's not. And it's actually illegal, and usually videos like that get taken down from stuff. Now, it's so easy to just put it back up again once it's been taken down. You take it down from one place, you put it up on the same site under a different name, and it's hard for sites to police that. So again, I'm talking about all of this from both sides. I've watched a million of these videos. I find them really hot, and so I feel kind of bad. I feel like I'm like supporting this thing that's like really terrible, but at the same time, I've been watching these videos since I was like a teenager. I've been watching porn since I was like young, and it's just kind of what gets me off, and I'm not paying for it. Although in some way, I'm sure that the people posting it are benefiting in some way just because I've clicked on it. Or, I mean, of course, like it's basically, we're living in a world where you can't take a step outside your house without being in support of one thing or paying for another without realizing it. It's just like there's so much going on behind the scenes on the internet that we don't even understand, like cookies and data mining and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I'm going to be here and I'm just going to be candid and tell you that I watch porn like that, and I do understand that it's wrong. And if someone said to me, well, how would you feel if you were in the locker room and someone took a video of you and you weren't expecting it, and then they posted it on the internet for people to see? And the answer to that is, I honestly wouldn't care. That's just me. And I know you're like, fuck you, you don't know, it hasn't happened, you can't say if you would care or not. But I honestly just, I wouldn't care. There are lots of, well, I want to say there's videos. I don't know if there's videos of me on the internet, but there's definitely a photo shoot out there of me naked doing some stuff. There's, I have an OnlyFans. Like, I just, I'm not saying please send nude photos of me to my grandpa. I don't have a grandpa anymore, but I don't want you to like ruin me. Of course, like the videos are usually pretty grainy, that of these locker room whatevers, and you usually can't really tell who the person is. I mean, I'm sure there's some way that they could be identified by someone who knew them eventually. It's not, none of that is it makes it okay for you to post those pictures. And I mean, it does violate one's bodily autonomy. I mean, we have to talk about that. But, and then another part of me says, okay, there's literally billions of people in the world, and like, we all have pretty much the same stuff. And so like, yes, everyone has the right to like say what happens to their body, but I don't know, is it that damaging for someone to post a video of you taking a shower? It would be more damaging, if they posted it in a place where a bunch of people who knew you could see it. But if they're posting it on like some, niche kind of porn site, I don't know. It's being shown in other countries. I don't know. Like, what are the chances of somebody who knows you seeing it? I'm playing both sides. So that was all just because I watched that kind of shit. Okay. So obviously I go into this subreddit, communal showers, because I'm thinking like, this will be hot. Like there'll be some videos or something. And the first thing I realized about this subreddit is it's men who like to be naked, and they like to be naked with other men. And the vast majority of the men on here are straight men who just like that, like kind of male camaraderie, especially a lot of older men who kind of grew up and enjoyed being naked with, their teammates, and like naked in, when they were in the military with other men showering and stuff. It just like was how it was. And it was at a time when it was just like, we're all men, we got the same stuff. And I mean, it's really, things are a lot more sensitive now. You can't really that can't be just how it is, it's like I have the same stuff as most men, but, I'm non-binary, and I'm a penis haver, and I like, other people who present as male. So it's like, do we have the same stuff? I guess, yeah, but like, does that mean that we're all the same? No, and we're really not. And there's all sorts of different cases, and I mean, there's different religions, and there's different cultures, and there's definitely people that like don't want to be naked in front of other people, and there's people that don't mind it. In all of this, let me just say that no one should ever be forced to be naked and against their will. They should absolutely not. If you're naked in public or ever, it should be because you said, I want to be naked right now. Or you made the choice to be naked because you got to get shit done. Or I don't know, like, you got to take a shower or whatever. So, also apologizing now for like more vocal fry than usual. I'm recording at like almost midnight, and it has been a really long day. And part of today I was like just trying to get through, and I realized I keep doing this fucking thing where I realize that like I haven't eaten enough food, and I'm like, fuck, like I feel tired and anxious, and my head feels weird, and my stomach feels weird. I just ate something and now I feel weird. Why do I feel weird? Oh, because you didn't eat for fucking 5 hours, and then you finally ate something and your body's going like, whoa, finally, bitch. Anyway, so I had a weird day like that. And so here I am. I thought, what better could I do than to, and it's fucking, also it's December and it's hot outside. Like it's like 65 right now, which for December, I don't care where the fuck you are. Maybe if you live in Ecuador, like you should be experiencing, well, maybe not 65, probably more like 80. But in December, or like, I guess if you're on the bottom half of the earth, I feel like they have summer in December, right? Like in Australia, isn't it like summer there right now? We're not supposed to know that. Don't tell anyone. Anyway, it's hot as balls in this closet right now. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I'm tired. I'm thirsty. It's hot. And I'm talking about how more than one thing can be true at the same time. That's the real topic of discussion today. More than one thing can be true at the same time. And the conversation is the important part, I think. Having the conversation, hearing other people's sides, letting people help you to make an educated decision, and helping others to make their own educated decisions through talking, right? So, all right, so communal showers, subreddit, whatever. It's a peaceful little place, okay? Honestly, like you would have to go to this place. You'd have to be seeking it to find it. You'd have to have basically typed in communal showers in the search box on Reddit to find it. And they have, right at the top, they have a ban on anyone who tries to solicit minors. It's like right there at the top. They realize there's going to be people attracted to this group who are trying to sexually solicit minors. And they're like, that's fucking not okay. We're not going to allow it. So that's right there, okay? I am not doing that. I would never do that. I think that's terrible. That being said, this is not a sexual subreddit. There are guys who like communal showers for sexual reasons. I'm one of them, but there's lots and lots of men in there who are nudists, naturalists, naturists, whatever. There are some men who are exhibitionists without it being like, I'm going to jerk off in front of people that don't want me to jerk off. They just want to be naked and they enjoy just being seen. And there's just literally there's a spectrum of why people would like public nudity. And not to mention, I mean, honestly, other than the fact that I like sex in public places sometimes, which a lot of people do. It's not a gay thing. It's a thing that straight people do fucking all the time. And they rarely are called perverts for it, as much as at least gay people are. I was conceived in the back of a van. So fucking, how about that? It was my parents' van, and my parents conceived me in it. But still, they weren't in the fucking house. They weren't parked in the garage. They were somewhere outside, parked somewhere, and they had sex and made me in the back of a van. And I believe they were on vacation. I believe they left my brother and his friends in the cabin, and then they drove somewhere, and then they boned in the van. They were like, "We're gonna go to the store," and then they went and boned in the van. And 9 months later, my perfect little head popped out of my mother's vaginal canal. It was wonderful, and it was like the Lion King, basically. So anyway, if the Lion King were like really pale and covered in poop, that was me. So, where was I? That's really hard to come back from. So, there was separately, there was this guy who, and I saw his TikTok. He's like probably my age or maybe a little younger, maybe a little older, but he is posting on TikTok. He is an art teacher. His name is Doug Weaver Art on TikTok, and he is got a kid, I think. He's got a wife. He is a self-proclaimed, basically ex-conservative Christian evangelical, I might add. He also calls himself a cis-het man, cisgendered heterosexual man. All these things make him sound pretty bad. Turns out he is actually really cool. And I've watched a couple of his TikToks about different things. He seems very liberal, but let's just say he is definitely reformed, and he's not fully reformed, because he even admits that when he got married to his wife, he still believed in traditional gender roles. And through his marriage kind of like not being all that he wanted it to be, he was like, oh, wait a minute. Us having traditional gender roles in this marriage makes this marriage really fucking poopy and not great, and neither of us really like it. What are we doing? So him and his wife have kind of like redefined how to be married and maybe Christian. I don't know how Christian they are anymore, but I'm assuming at least a little bit. Evangelicals fucking culty as fuck. So there's that. This guy paints his nails. He supports his son painting his nails. He's just kind of like, we're men, we can do whatever we want. Girls can do whatever they want. Like, people can just be themselves. I think I said he's an art teacher. I think he's like I don't know where he teaches art, but he's some kind of an art teacher somewhere. And I wrote art teacher ? And so the main video he posted was him talking about how it's wrong that schools force students, in physical education or in sports to take showers at school. Honestly, I don't know of a lot of public schools that still force their athletes to take showers at school, or their students. But maybe there are some. I never went to a school like that, and I went to school in the fucking I went to middle school in the late 90s, early millennium, And then I went to a school that didn't have any sports. We, so I don't know. I don't know if like boys were taking showers together in high school when I was like in high school, like not at my school, but at other schools around, or the school that I would have gone to if my parents hadn't sent me to boarding school. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if my brothers did. I mean, my older brothers went to this. Okay, so everyone in my family went to the same fucking high school except for me. So my oldest two brothers were like 18 years older than me, 17 years older than me. So they went to fucking high school in like literally the 80s. So they probably did have full on naked communal showers with their teammates and stuff. My other brother was born 6 years before me. So he would have been in high school in the 90s. And I don't know how that would have been. Maybe. I don't know. Um, anyway, this guy's big thing is it violates bodily autonomy to make students get naked. It should be illegal to make students get naked against their will, and it's absolutely should be. That being said, it sounds like he had very traumatic experiences. He brings up, the idea that he was bullied maybe, or he witnessed bullying happening, and how and he talks about this in a third video. There's 3 videos. There's a first video, and there's a second video, and then there's a reaction to one of those videos, or a reaction to the people's reaction of one of those videos. And I know about the first video only because somebody posted it on the subreddit Communal Showers. And then he found out about this subreddit Communal Showers. And so his second video is all about going off on this second about going off on the Communal Showers message board. And I understand he was probably super angry because he definitely got trolled by these guys. It got posted to the subreddit, and a lot of these guys were super offended. And, these guys might believe in some of the things I can get behind, but some of them also might have a lot of different beliefs that I don't believe in. And a lot of them, others of them might also be stupid. Wait, hold on. Okay, my computer fell asleep. And stupid people, or just people that aren't really very good at communicating or expressing themselves, as well as I am. So anyway, so he had a lot of things to say, and a lot of things I took issue with. But he mentions, let me go through my notes here. I fucking took notes, bitch. He was on a wrestling team in high school. And they required all of them to take showers at school after practice. And they were doing that to eliminate the chances of developing skin infections. I'm assuming things like there's a thing called jock itch. There's, athlete's foot, which athlete's foot you literally get in the locker room probably. So, and then I don't know. I guess when you're playing a sport where you're there's a lot of contact with other players, you do kind of want to make sure that people don't have infectious skin diseases, but that doesn't necessarily have to be done at school. I mean, these kids are going to go home and they could do it at home. They don't have to be doing it. And he said that it was 20 kids showering completely naked because nobody wanted to be the kid wearing a bathing suit. They would get teased for wearing a bathing suit in the showers. And it was all different ages of kids. So there were freshmen in the showers with seniors. And I mean, there's a big difference in the body types of a freshman and a senior. I mean, those two body types, it's like a little kid being with almost a man, in the same room. And it's so weird and kind of inappropriate, actually. So tons of bullying, he witnessed and maybe experienced himself. He mentions that there's cultures in the world where people wear shorts when showering, even when they're alone. And I'm wondering what he means by that, because I don't think that's true. It reminds me of the Never Nude from, it's, what's his name from Arrested Development? Fucking, Funky? Is it is it his last name Funky? Dr. Funky? Tobias Funky? Something like that. Please tell me how wrong I am. But he has this thing where he has to wear basically jorts under everything, and he can never be nude. He's a never nude. There might be people like that. I'm sure that there are, and I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum. That's great for you. It's definitely not me. But anyway, I don't know that there's cultures where people can never be naked when showering, even alone. I know that a lot of Muslims don't get naked in public, and probably some Jews, and probably some Christians too. Um, they don't, oh, definitely some Christians too. They don't, they can't be naked in front of other people, regardless of the other people's gender. It's like a modesty. It's a huge part of these people's like beliefs. Um, and I respect that. I think religion's fucking stupid, but like I respect that you don't, and I don't feel like you should ever be forced to violate your religious beliefs. I honestly fully support you in your religious beliefs. And I expect you to do the same for me and my lack thereof. But anyway, um, so he said that in his experience, this Doug Weaver Art, he says that in his experience, the coaches would make the kids actually check each other for skin infection. So they would have to look at each other, get in underneath stuff, and then see like, okay, are you, dude, you've got jock itch, or like it's literally ridiculous because you don't need someone else to check you for that. You would feel itchy or you would see a rash. There's no place where, and there's way past the invention of the mirror here. Like that doesn't need to happen. And then there was at least a few occasions where he said the coach, a man in his 40s, was showering with the students in the same room completely naked when there was a shower in the coach's office that he was supposed to be using. It sounds like that coach was definitely blurring lines, if not, and I think completely crossing a line, and it was very inappropriate. And regardless of the time period, I think this guy could not be that very different age than me. If that had happened when I was in high school, that would have been extremely inappropriate. So I really don't get it. Maybe there's some difference with like sports teams, but I was thinking that like even in like middle school and or not middle school, even in college and in professional sports, I was thinking that the coach really doesn't shower with the players. Like there's that like line there of professionalism or something. And I know literally nothing about sports, but like it seems like, anyway, this story that he told really makes me feel like he was sexually abused by his coach. Like not personally, but him and all of his cohorts, they were like kind of sexually abused by their coach. I mean, that was inappropriate what happened, and I can say that no problem. Um I I think there's a lot wrong with sports. I think there's a lot of adults like telling young people what they should and shouldn't do with their bodies. I was a dancer, and I know there was fucking girls in my dance department who ate nothing but lettuce with orange juice on top of it, and that was like so that they wouldn't pass out during class, but like so that they would stay really skinny. They ate nothing. I know people that had really fucking terrible eating disorders, and that was in the world of the arts. I mean, dancing is like arts meets sports, kind of, you know. I know that wrestlers are expected to weigh in regularly and be either over a certain weight or under a certain weight. And I don't understand why. I don't understand it at all. I don't understand how, like, if you don't weigh below this, you can't wrestle in this weight class. Why don't you just wrestle in a different weight class? Why don't you just wrestle in the weight class that your body weight is already in? Like, yeah, practice and do physical stuff and eat healthy and whatever. But when all that's done, before you have an eating disorder or like try to dehydrate yourself or like steam in a steam room or a sauna until you sweat out all your fluids or whatever, or use laxatives or fucking whatever. Before any of that, just say, okay, what's my weight? What's my healthy weight? And then that's my weight class. Why be in a different weight class? Why is there like you have to have a certain amount of guys in each weight class on the wrestling team? I mean, that can't be true because I feel like it's hard to even get enough guys on wrestling teams. I mean, I don't know. I don't fucking know. But I know that when you actually have a wrestling meet or whatever, it comes down to two guys wrestling each other from different teams. I mean, it's not like a team sport, like, so if you had three guys on the wrestling team, they could go to a meet, right? And just wrestle the other guys on another team. Like, I don't know. I don't really know, but I don't understand all of that. And I wanted to mention that anyway, because we had some high school kids come to my work and they were like, we need to just go steam. Our coach wants us to steam. And I was like, what? How old are you? First of all, you need to be 18 to come here by yourself. Second of all, you should be like assisted. If you're being asked to like shred weight, you shouldn't be doing that alone in a steam room as a young person. Like, you should be assisted by like a doctor. Also, like, you shouldn't be asked to do that. It's just so weird. Anyway, so Mr. Doug Weaver Art, he kind of lashes back because he realizes at some point that his video about this, which he was really bearing his heart about this, right? It's been put on this communal showers thing, and then he goes to look at, okay, what's this communal showers thing? He thinks it's weird, he thinks it's freaky, and he kind of gets maybe a little defensive because obviously the guys on the thing, some of the guys on the thing were trolling him hardcore, and they were probably being fucking stupid. So he releases kind of like, I guess, a rebuttal. And what's this? He talks about how on the communal showers or subreddit, there's men who like to travel the world taking showers and communal showers and taking pictures of the showers with or without people in them. Now, I've seen almost every picture on this subreddit, and there's never people in the showers when they take pictures of the showers, but there are sometimes people in them if the person taking the photo takes a picture of themselves. So that is the people that are in there. He probably didn't look at a lot of the pictures because he probably didn't really want to be on that subreddit that much, which makes sense. It's fine. He's cis het man, so, whatever. And he just thinks it's weird. He doesn't understand why, and he starts to assume that these guys must all be creeps, and creepers and pedophiles and groomers, and he says that the only reason why he said something like the only reason why schools would have communal showers is because if schools were trying to use the communal showers as an opportunity to groom kids. Ugh. I did not like that language. He didn't say exactly those words. I'm paraphrasing, but he used the word grooming, and he mentioned it as if schools were grooming kids, and that is really inflammatory right now. Like, there is a huge, and he's a teacher. For him to say that as a teacher, it's like, oh my God. I can't believe it's like you've touched on, maybe he doesn't realize that there's this huge conspiracy that gay people who are teachers are grooming children to be gay. And that schools are grooming children to hate their parents and, be like, my parents are racist. And like, there's a huge problem right now where parents are really weird and crazy and scared, and they're blaming schools and teachers for what they don't like in the world, with respect to young people. And young people are just marching and saying, we don't want fucking guns in our schools anymore. And because we don't want to get shot when we go to school. Anyway, it's this huge thing. It's just like, please don't use the word grooming lightly or in any way that's based inaccurate. Like it's just, oh, I'm sorry, dude. That was a really bad thing to say. Maybe you should just edit that line. He said that the only guys basically that are on this subreddit are guys that want to watch children shower. And so he took issue with the fact that there are young men and boys that go on this subreddit because they're interested in nudism, they're interested in naturism, they're interested in like what other people have to say about communal showers. They probably typed in communal showers because they are really nervous about the fact that like there might be some expectation for them to shower nude at their school or with, in group sports and stuff. And they're interested in doing it, but they're nervous. And so they come on and they type, can anyone give me advice? And yes, that is an opportunity for an older man to say whatever he wants to a young person. And yes, that can be very dangerous. But if done respectfully, and if like a young person asks a question and older people say, non-sexually and respectfully, don't worry, dude, you're fine. Like your body's fine. And like, you shouldn't be ashamed. Like just do what you want and don't feel ashamed of yourself. Like all of that good stuff is good. Male bonding, camaraderie. Yes. A lot of times that kind of advice should be coming to a kid from his or her parents or, guardians. And sometimes they're not getting that kind of advice from those people. And so they kind of turn elsewhere. And that's a little dangerous when your kids feel they can't talk to you and they turn to complete strangers on the internet. So yeah, talk to your fucking kids. He also talks about how people that like communal showers don't want people who don't like communal showers to have the option of being able to not be naked. And there are probably some people that are communal shower advocates who have gone almost like in rebellion to what's happening, which is the actual truth is that all over the United States, there are less and less communal showers. There are stalls going up. There's curtains going up. It's very, very much like modesty everywhere. And it's mostly, I think, based on puritanical values. It could also be giving people the option to be modest if they want. And I love that. Honestly, I've gone to plenty of gyms where there's a communal shower and then there's some stalls with curtains or doors or whatever. So you have the option to not be viewed, but you also are not being forced to be private. And I feel more often than not, I've been in a lot of fucking gyms that, especially in the South, that people don't think you should be allowed to be naked in areas where you should be allowed to be naked. Like there are gyms where you can get your gym membership revoked if you're just naked too much in the men's locker room. Like, so if you walked from the shower to your locker with your towel over your shoulder, someone could complain and then you could get in trouble, which is like ridiculous because that person does not need to look at you. And you should be able to do that. It's the place to be naked is the locker room. Like if you didn't close the shower curtain and someone said, oh God, I don't want to see that. I'm going to go report this pervert for being naked in a men's locker room shower. Like there are people like that. I've heard so many people talk to me about, I don't even go in the locker room because It's just really not cool. Like, I just don't want to see old naked men. I hear so many young guys say that they don't want to go in a locker room because they don't want to see old naked men. And I'm literally like, dude, what the fuck do you think you're going to look like in like 40 years? Like, honestly, are you just scared of aging? But like, I like seeing old naked men. I like seeing all sorts of naked people. I find it very, very educational. I think that people should be allowed to be naked in a lot of areas, and there should be options for people to cohabitate naked of all ages, and it shouldn't be sexual, and it doesn't need to be immoral, and it should never be forced. But if people are in a place, it can be clothing optional, and that should be okay, right? And does that open up for the possibility that something potentially bad could happen? Yes. But I would like to talk about this because this guy, what's his name? Doug Weaver Art, goes on to talk about what he thinks are statistics. And he's probably heard some, but he's not 100% right. And so you should never, this is something that I need to fucking, do my research too, because I've definitely thrown out statistics that I thought were pretty right, or just like what I remembered hearing whatever later. But wait. He said that locker rooms are not safe, and he also said that all locker rooms should have stall showers. So he doesn't think that communal showers should ever be allowed. So he literally is now a part of something that creates the fear in people who want communal showers, that makes them then get defensive and say everyone should take their fucking shorts off. We're all men. We all need to be naked. Blah. Like, it's just this back and forth, and it's like when you see Republicans using inflammatory language against Democrats, using inflammatory language against Republicans, going back and forth, thinking that they're changing anything, and they're just making each other angry. So this back and forth is going to continue. No one's listening. Everyone's talking, and it's just, and you're sitting there on the outside of it going like, you're all fucking idiots. Stop making each other upset. Just listen. All right? So he says that there should not be this space, that locker rooms are not safe spaces, that they harbor bullying, body shaming, over, your body isn't good enough, you have a small penis. He said that there's plenty of athletes that were really great athletes that quit sports because of this kind of locker room shame, and they could have done so well in sports or something. I'm like, okay, maybe. There's definitely no way to research that. He said that children are being sexually assaulted in these showers. That is definitely possible in some cases. He says that on his wrestling team, there was one boy that used to sneak up behind all the other boys and touch them with his penis. And I know exactly what he means. He would come up and just go boop with the penis on the butt or whatever. And it probably, in most cases, made a lot of his teammates laugh really hard. I don't think that boy thought, I'm doing this for sexual gratification. He might have, but he probably just did it because he thought it was funny, and he probably did a lot of dumb shit that he thought was funny, and a lot of his dumb friends probably were like, yeah, man, that's funny. And it's not really funny, and it's really uncomfortable for someone who doesn't want to be even naked in a locker room, and they feel forced to be naked, and now someone's come up behind them and booped them with their dickhead on their butt. It's really not cool. But also a lot of things that dumb guys do in school are not cool. Like, I was treated like garbage in middle school by a lot of dumb guys. So, yeah, a lot of it's not cool. I have to agree with that. And that is technically sexual assault because he touched your body with a sex organ against your will, and you did not like it, you did not laugh, you did not want it. Yeah, that's not okay. And then the coaches apparently just kind of said, oh, whatever, that's just what boys do. That's what our friends did in the showers, whatever. So, I mean, that's not cool. But he goes on to say that that there are a lot of, he talks about children between the ages of 12 and 17 being the major demographic being sexually assaulted by adult men. I think it's just adults. And that's actually true. And I'm going to read some factoids from the internet in a minute. He said 1 out of 10, if you had 10 kids or more, he said if you have 10 kids or more, at least one of them would be sexually assaulted in their life. And that's not true. Also, 10 kids or more, that's not facts. What is or more? Is it 53? Because 1 in 53 boys are sexually assaulted. That is a fact. And 1 in 9 girls. And I'll tell you about that in a second. Forced nudity is not okay. I agree with that. And then he says, and this is where he gets just a little defensive and I think not very factual. He says rapists and pedophiles like forced communal showers, and basically the victims of sexual assault don't. So those are absolutions, I guess. I mean, I know from sexual assault and prevention training and all of that actually the most obvious places where you're going to be sexually assaulted are not the most dangerous. And I think that communal showers are a pretty obvious place. A lot of, especially like places like the YMCA, different kinds of places that support family values and like community and, group exercise and stuff. They have set up where, you have to be 18 years old to even go in this locker room. This other locker room over here is the family locker room. It's for people with their kids, and it's a much better system. I totally think that's true. Let's see. I'm going to read you some facts from RAINN.org. Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. Okay. So, child sexual abuse is a widespread problem. Every 9 minutes, Child Protective Services substantiates or finds evidence for a claim of child sexual abuse. It says in FY16 alone, I don't know what FY16 is, Child Protective Services agencies substantiated or found strong evidence to indicate that 57,329 children were victims of sexual abuse. So I don't know what that means because I don't know what FY16 is, and I don't know if 57,000, that's a lot of children. That is true. Okay, but here's something. Of all victims under 18, 2 out of 3 are ages 12 to 17. 34% of those victims are under the age of 12. 66% of those victims are between the ages of 12 and 17. So that is true. 1 in 9 girls and 1 in 53 boys under the age of 12 experience sexual abuse or assault at the hands of an adult. So that says to me that his experience is totally true, but he's talking a lot about children, but the stuff he knows about, at least in the videos he's shared on TikTok, only really has to do with little boys. And from the data, we see that little girls are like 3 times more likely to be sexually assaulted than little boys. So I just want to say that because it seems like he's a little bit more afraid of little boys getting sexually assaulted, maybe because he felt sexually abused as a child by his coach or whomever. I don't know. 82% of all victims under the age of 18 are female. That's true. Female ages 16 to 19 are 4 times more likely than the general population to be victims of rape, attempted rape, or sexual assault. So there's that. Perpetrators of child sexual abuse are often related to the victim. So I don't know if that means family or close friends. Child victims often know the perpetrator. So a coach, that means that's possible. Among cases of child sexual abuse reported to law enforcement, 93% are known to the victim. 7% are strangers. So stranger danger is not nearly as big of a deal as we thought a long time ago. 59% are acquaintances and 34% are family members. So that does kind of substantiate what he was saying. Like, acquaintances include like teachers, coaches, your priest, your neighbor, a friend of the family. That's what we're talking about here. Out of the sexual abuse cases reported to CPS in 2013, 47,000 men and 5,000 women were the alleged perpetrators. That's insane. Oh, sorry. I read 47,000 men and thought 4,000 men. So yeah, men are way more likely to be perpetrators. In 88% of the sexual abuse claims that CPS substantiates or finds supporting evidence of, the perpetrator is male. In 9% of cases, they are female, and 3% are unknown. And I'm assuming that, because all of this information is just based on things that have been substantiated or claimed, right? So it's very possible that there's so much data we don't know. And that always has to be said, because victims should not have to feel like they have to come out about what happened to them, or shall we say survivors. But a lot of times they don't, and that's their choice. And yeah, so there's a lot that we don't know because not everyone talks about it. We do need to have conversations about things if we want to be a part of the conversation. I think it can help all people in the conversation a lot. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hello, my friends. It is I, Drew Michael, and I am here to tell you, I don't know, did you guys know that I love podcasting? It's literally my favorite thing in the entire world. And I use something called Anchor. Have you heard of Anchor by Spotify? Listen, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your own phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Just download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And listen, podcasting is great. It's literally what I want to do with the rest of my life. If you just like to talk and hear yourself talk and, not force other people to hear you talk, but like give other people the opportunity to listen if they so choose, well, then there you go. You don't need friends. You just need to get a podcast. You don't need therapy. You just need a podcast. Or maybe you need all of those things. But you definitely should get a podcast, because it's amazing. Okay, guys. Bye! Wow, guys. I can't believe all that I've already said. I can't believe I talked about that for almost an hour. So yeah, the idea that two things can be true is real. I'll tell you, kind of touching back on porn, I got into reading this erotic literature that I found somewhere else on some other site. And this writer was writing about, it's actually a college wrestling team. It's so crazy that it actually sounds a lot like what the previous guy was talking about, except for it was in college. This writing was like, it had the elements of locker room stuff and like communal showers and teams and whatever, and I found that all really sexy and hot. All the people in the story were of age, so it wasn't anything like that. But then there was like a lot of mind fucking and gaslighting and physical and sexual abuse by the coach and like other members of the team and other coaches, and like they were like really, really like doing fucked up shit to the main character. And I was like, by the time it started to get kind of like a little too fucked up for me, I was already like in higher states of arousal and like totally masturbating a ton and like just like, oh my God, this is really fucked up. And almost like parts of me getting off on the fact that it was fucked up and knowing it was wrong, but like feeling like every 20 seconds being like, wait, this is maybe too fucked up. Wait, maybe this kind of bothers me. And being like into it and having it bother me at the same time, and then eventually coming and then being done with it, and being like, wow, I feel kind of bad. Like, I feel like that was hot and sexy and everything, but I feel kind of bad now. Kind of like when, not at all the same as when I decided to listen to the Grizzly Man audio of him being eaten alive by a bear. It was a different kind of bad. That made me feel like my blood had run cold and I was like gonna die if I listened to it anymore. Like I was like, holy shit, no. And actually, it was so weird. Last night, I was like falling asleep, and I kept thinking about, or wait, was it last night or was it at work today? At some point in the last 24 hours, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get eaten by a bear, and I was like, I was starting to get like a little panicky because I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get eaten by a bear, and there's nothing I can do. That's how I die. That's how I die. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, okay, you have to, you have to shut up. You're not gonna be eaten by a bear. You can definitely control whether or not you're even in the situation where a bear could eat you. Just stay away from fucking bears. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And I had to like calm myself down. It was really weird, super irrational. That's, I think, what happens when I don't eat enough and I don't get enough sleep. I just started having those kinds of fucking thoughts. I mean, the devil is literally inside me at those times. Anyway, so not quite that. Not quite the Grizzly Man feelings of like, I shouldn't have listened to that. Just a lot of bad feelings when I got done reading some of these stories. I mean, there was like literally like chapters, and I read like 10 of them or something in one night while I was jerking off. It's this feeling of this was sexy and hot, but it was also fucked up. And it turned me on, but it also offended me. And there's so many things in sex like that. There's so many things in porn like that. And let me be clear, I think there's things in porn where they're not okay and they should change. And the reason why we have them is because people are paying to watch it and it's making money. Right? So the people that produce it are going to keep producing it. As long as it's legal to produce it and they're making money, they're going to keep wanting to make money. Of course, it's a business. But sometimes, I don't know, sometimes we have to ask ourselves why the things that turn us on, and why the things that don't turn us on, don't turn us on. Like when my one friend told me once that he like wasn't attracted to black people, and I was like, that seems racist. I'm not sure why, but I think that might be racist. And then later on, I was like, yeah, that's definitely racist. You definitely should not say things like, I'm not attracted to black people. You shouldn't be only attracted to people because of the color of their skin. And you shouldn't say, well, it's not my fault. I just can't get an erection if it's a black guy. It's like, what? Are you kidding? There are so many sexy black men. I can't believe you would rule out billions of people on the planet. Actually, I don't know how many black people are on the planet, but also there's no such thing as black people. Like it's like there's. I mean, I was just listening to what's his name, Neil deGrasse Tyson, talking about how like they lumped Africans into one category, and there's in the same continent there's so much diversity. Like there's people of lighter skin and darker skin. There's people who are the tallest people on the globe and the shortest people on the globe. And they were also talking about when Europeans went to Africa, they only focused on people they thought were less evolved than them. They never focused on the civilizations that were as civilized or intelligent or whatever in their mind as they were. And anytime that anything in Africa was advanced, they said that they were assisted by aliens from outer space. Which is why Ancient Aliens is fucking racist. But anyway, yeah, it's racist to say you don't find black people sexually attractive. It's fucking ignorant and stupid and racist, and fuck it. I hate it. It doesn't mean you're racist if you don't marry a black guy or fuck a black guy in your life. It just means don't. Just don't. Just fucking stop being racist. Okay, thanks. But we should, if we have weird things about our what we're attracted to or not attracted to, we should say like, what is up with that? We should question things more. We don't have to feel bad about the things we feel, but like, we should ask ourselves, what's up with that, right? I think that's okay. And then another thing, and I kept saying two things can be true, two things can be true. This is a really hard thing to talk about. And I'm going to be very vague because I must protect the people involved. Somebody I've known, two people I've known for a very long time. One of them hurt the other one very badly. And the person who was hurt told me what had happened. And I went through my head of, all of the things you're supposed to do and say for, a survivor of abuse. Because I've heard all the things, before, and I tried to do the best I could. I did fuck up. I did offer some bad advice. I did tell this person that they shouldn't tell certain other people that we also know because I didn't think that they could handle hearing it. And those people that we also know are people that I know also very well. So all these people are people I've known for a very long time. And I'm scared for the people that we also know, how they will maybe not be able to handle hearing about this. But then I reneged on my bad advice and I said, you know what? I was being stupid. You need to tell whoever you want or not tell whoever you want. It's your story. You need to do what you need to do. I'm here for you. I love you. I support you. I'm sorry that I am a dumb fucking asshole sometimes, but I'm scared, Anyway, now my struggle is how to handle it all. How to handle, let's say there's 3 planets in orbit. One, it was the planet that was the abuser. One was the planet that was the survivor. And the other is the planet of, I don't know how to label that planet, but the planet of, people that we also know that I don't know. Those the planet that I don't know how that planet's going to deal with the news that, this happened. I don't know how to act towards, I know how to act towards the survivor. Although I want more information because I don't know how to act towards the perpetrator. I don't know how to expand my heart large enough to understand how people can be so bad to other people, even people that they love. And I know that people they act badly when they're afraid or they've made bad decisions. They could be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And people are abused and then they go on to be abusive. And we know that people who are abused oftentimes victimize themselves for years and years and years after they were victims to begin with. And I've been a victim. And I know that in my experience, if you're the victim all the time, then there's no room for anyone else to be in your reality. And if no one else can be the victim in your reality, then all the people around you are never cared for by you, acknowledged for their pain by you, protected by you. So, and that's the thing too, where sometimes victims say, well, there's no time for me to be the victim because I have to take care of my own children or whatever. So there's this feeling of I can't be the victim and you the victim at the same time. There's not room for us both to be. And I think there is. I think there's a lot of room there for everyone to share their pain together and support each other simultaneously. Not that I've done that. I think that's probably an extremely terrifying and vulnerable place. But I'd like to do that one day. And I think this, in some way, is an attempt to do that. Sharing as much as I can on a podcast. Trying to be as clear about the way I think and feel as possible and generate conversations. Especially when I don't know the answers. I don't know how 2 things can be true at the same time, but I know that they can be. When people find out that their favorite artist did something terrible, Bill Cosby, anyone else? I know bad things about Picasso. Jackson Pollock killed a girl. while drunk driving. Uh, one of the couple of the artists that I'm very mad at are Kevin Spacey and Louis C.K. I loved their work, and they both got canceled. And I'm so mad. Not that they were canceled, but that they did something. They did the things they did that warranted them being canceled. I'm mad that, that they did those things. And I loved their work, and it meant so much to me. And every time that somebody that you love does that, betrays you, sometimes it's just another notch on the post, but sometimes it really breaks down your ability to believe that there's good. So, and I'm not perfect, and I haven't done 100% good things in this life. I've done bad things. I've hurt people. I've been afraid. I've behaved badly. So, there. I don't think I've done anything on par with any of those guys I've already mentioned, but I'll tell you one last thing before we go. I think a lot about my young sexual experiences as a teenager, having sex with other teenagers, and there were just a lot of times where, you liked someone and they liked you. And I went to boarding school, okay? So we would, we'd hang out in each other's rooms late at night. And, we weren't supposed to be in someone else's room, but we'd sneak out of our room and sneak into their room. And then we would just try to be quiet so we didn't get caught or whatever. And there was always a scenario where you crawled into bed together and you were just like, oh, we're just friends. We're just laying in bed together. And then you pretended to fall asleep, or you did actually fall asleep, and then you'd wake up and somebody would be putting your hand on their dick, their hard penis, and you'd be like, oh, I'm jacking you off, but you're holding my wrist. Oh, okay. That happened. But I wanted to jack him off. I just kind of fell asleep. But I was asleep. And he jacked himself off with my hand. So that's kind of not cool. But I wanted to jack him off, but I fell asleep. I also once grabbed my friend's scrotum while he was sleeping in my bed. And I just kind of cupped it in my hands, and then I went, oh my God. That is the smallest scrotum I've ever had in my hands. And then I let go of his scrotum. And then I kind of rolled over and went to sleep. This was before Me Too. This was before Black Lives Matter. This was 2004, 2003, or something like that. I think back and I'm like, oh God, there should have been no touchy while sleepy. But we were all just we were like 13, 14 years old. We were all experimenting. We were all stupid. We all didn't know what to do about liking someone. And my first time was just a little molesty, but I don't regret it. And technically the kid who I was with was younger than I was, but I was way less experienced than he was. And it was a little molesty. Him molesting me, kind of. But I would never say, you molested me. Because I wanted it, but I didn't know how to make it happen, and I didn't know what to do with wanting, and I didn't know what to do after I got it. And that is why. That is why young people should not be troubled with I don't want to say all that stuff, because they have sexuality. I mean, I just heard on Fox News tonight, this mother was writing a post because she was upset that her school had a banner or something, and part of the banner was some kid was educating the other kids about LGBTQIA plus communities stuff, and like there was something called like polysexuality, and they were like, what is this? Why are they forcing my kid to write a thing about polysexuality? And it was like, well, did your kid write it, or did another kid write it? Like, your kid's not being forced. The other kid wanted to do that maybe as a part of their assignment, and your kid witnessed it. But that's okay. It's okay for another kid to do what they believe and for your kid to witness it. It's okay, because we live on a fucking planet with other people on it. Okay? Also, she then said that, like, the military contacted her and said, like, you got to take that off your Facebook. You can't write this stuff about the school on your Facebook or something. And then she took it down because she was afraid for her safety and the safety of her child. I was like, what? What are you talking about? What happened? I'm so confused. It was on stupid fucking Tucker Carlson too. What was my point? Oh, the point was that, like, she at one point said something like, these are 9-year-olds. They shouldn't be told about other kinds of sexuality. They shouldn't be talking about sexuality at all. And it's like, you can talk about sexuality without talking about sex. Sexuality has the word sex in it, but it doesn't mean we're like showing kids porn. It means that kids are learning that there's other ways to label what they might be feeling. And I want to say to that woman, you know that we live in a planet that's like completely cis hetero. Like, queer kids have heterosexuality shoved down their throat every single fucking second, and they have no choice. And to them, that is very alternative. So for your kid to hear for 5 minutes another kid do an assignment about polysexuality, I think it's fucking okay, Karen. I think it's fucking okay. And yes, you sent your kid to a public school. If you don't want your kid to learn about other people, homeschool him. Get off your ass, Karen, and homeschool him. I think there's some kind of government support for homeschools or something. I don't know. Maybe. Anyway. Have I said enough? Are you tired yet? Am I still awake? Am I still alive? You guys, thank you for listening. I don't know how I connected 3 things like that. I don't know how anyone's going to think or feel about me after this, but I feel pretty good about what I've said. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Also, in the show notes, you can see that we have a new link tree. So if you want to connect to our socials, check out our link tree in the show notes. I don't know what the link tree is. I think it's like me. Maybe it's like Drew Michael. Maybe it's Make Sex With Me, something like that. It's actually Linktree/Drew Michael. And if you want to email sexy stories, questions, comments, suggestions, if you just want to yell at me about what I've said today, or if you're, Doug Weaver Art, you can write us at makesexwithmepodcast@gmail.com. And, literally, you guys, if you're not filling all your holes with whatever makes you happy, I don't even know what to say. Bye!